Think about the last time you wanted to do really well at something. A moment you had spent lots of time practicing, training, getting ready for, and the moment was finally here. And yet, your mind went somewhere it shouldn't have, to something that had nothing to do with what was right in front of you. Most people would say that's being unfocused or losing one's focus. But what science really tells us is that you never lost your focus. What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about one of the most foundational skills within all of human performance, and that's attentional focus. So with that being said, this video is not going to be a motivational video about why you need to lock in. Rather, I'll be focused on pulling from sports psychology research and using it to explain how we can all improve our level of focus within our own lives. First, capacity. Now, a Nobel Prize winning psychologist, Daniel Kahneman, spent most of his career studying how the human mind makes decisions. And one of his foundational findings was this: your cognitive capacity is finite. It has a budget. Your brain is not an unlimited processing machine, in the sense that every thought you have, every idea, every scroll, every notification is drawn from the same limited pool of resources. Second, selectivity. So while capacity tells us how much attention we have, selectivity is more about where this attention actually goes. It's our brain's ability to filter what's relevant and to just disregard everything else. This is one of the reasons why some people seem so calm under pressure, whereas others seem to kind of fall apart, right? And it's not some special talent. It's not something that you're born with or you're born without. But really, it's a skill that you can develop, and this skill is really how effective is your filter, right? And sports psychology gives us some of the most clear evidence on how that filter actually works, right? Because when you look at sports, it's a highly pressurized environment, right? Even as a fan watching the game, you can feel the pressure within the stadium or the arena. And there's so much statistics and data within sports, and the outcome is almost immediate every time. So although I'll be pulling from research and examples within sport because it's so easy to apply and there's a lot of it, think about how this filter looks like in your own life. Last variable of attention is arousal. And this is probably one of the most misunderstood variables within all of performance. And I think one story that really highlights this well is when Kobe Bryant and Dwight Howard got into it when they were both on the Lakers. And we all know Kobe was famously very intense, always seemed to be locked in and have a very laser-like focus in his approach. And so he couldn't really understand Dwight Howard, because Dwight was smiling, laughing, joking around with teammates before games. And to Kobe, that looked like a lack of seriousness, a lack of focus. And so this became a real tension between them. And much earlier in his life, Dwight's father gave him similar advice.
You need to take it serious. I'm like, I am taking it serious. I'm having fun. Like, this is actually fun, going out there, shaking people, you know what I'm saying, crossing people up. You know, all that stuff was fun to me. And then I tried it his way one game where I didn't smile, didn't have fun. And I played one of the worst games of my life. And then he came back and said, you know what? You need to smile.
So in that clip, Dwight Howard talks about how he felt he played better when he was able to have fun on the court. And this is not just some feel-good story about being yourself or having fun, but it's actually a concept that's backed by science. But this can be applied to any performance. right? As some of us might like to listen to some EDM music or get really hype before a big moment, whereas others might like to listen to some classical or chill music and really relax themselves before a big moment. And the key is noticing that neither of these are right or wrong or better or worse, but it's really just about finding out what your individual zone of optimal functioning is. Now, not all focus is the same. Sports psychologist Robert Nideffer developed one of the most useful models to understand focus. And this model can be applied in any performance domain. He identified two dimensions of attention which directly impact our focus: width, broad or narrow; direction, internal or external. That gives us 4 quadrants, and every performance situation calls for a different one. Broad external, this is your scanning mode. Your attention is wide and pointed outward, taking in as much of the environment as possible at once.
They're going to run an out, a corner, a shallow, an in, and then the sneak.
Narrow external, your attention isn't scanning anymore, it's focused on a specific target. And everything outside that target is now disregarded.
Yes! Double 12! That is the most amazing leg announce you will ever see in your life! I can't speak!
Broad internal, now your focus turns inward, but you are not focused on one thing. You are surveying the entirety of your inner state. This can look like strategic planning, problem solving, or visualization.
Ready, roll, hat. On.
Narrow internal, your focus is still turned inward, but on one completely specific thing. One image, one word, one breath.
Max hold on your inhale. 3, 2, and 1. Full inhale and hold. And just settle into that space.
And the most important thing is to have the ability to move between these 4 different quadrants based on what the moment demands, right? So in a lot of sports, you have to kind of scan the field or scan the court before you make a decision and then narrow your focus to really execute that play. And the same thing goes for just daily life, right? Maybe you're in a chaotic situation and you have to observe your environment and the situation before narrowing your focus to really make an effective change. Towards the beginning of this video, I discussed how we never really lose focus, but rather our focus is directed toward kind of unwanted or unhelpful stimuli. And so there's a theory that was created by Michael Eysenck known as attentional control theory, and it really breaks down why this tends to occur in big moments. And this is because pressure and anxiety really tend to shift our focus from goal-directed attention to more stimulus-driven attention, right? So we aren't losing focus, but rather we tend to focus on a threat rather than the goal we are working toward. Additional research on penalty kick performance found that anxious players fixated longer on the goalkeeper or the threat rather than the goal or the target. They weren't unfocused, they were hyper-focused on exactly the wrong thing. Our brain is simply detecting a threat and then redirecting all of our focus towards it before our conscious mind is even aware of what's going on, right? And that's not weakness, that's our brain doing exactly what it was built to do through evolution, right? So the problem is not our initial response to pressure or threats, but rather it's the inability or the struggle to redirect this focus. The amygdala, your brain's threat detection system, can struggle to know the difference between a predator and a penalty kick, between a lion and a job interview. The redirect should be towards intentional, goal-directed attention. It's the part of you that says, I see the threat, I see the distraction, but I'm not going there. I'm going to focus on what truly matters to my performance. So here's one of the easiest ways that we can all practice the skill of redirecting focus within our daily lives. So let's say we are bored on any particular day. Maybe you are waiting in line, or you're just laying down in bed late at night. You want to notice where your thoughts are going, right? Just be aware of where your focus is at any given point. And when you notice this, then try to redirect your focus back to something that will help you ground yourself in the present moment, right? So this could be maybe the feeling of your feet on the ground, or your butt on the chair, or your breath. Or maybe it's just focusing on a fixed point in your room, like a picture of your family or your alarm clock, right? Whatever helps you bring yourself back to the present moment, try to bring your full attention to this, and then inevitably your focus will kind of drift off as your mind wanders. And then once again, you have the opportunity to redirect your focus back to the present moment. And each time you do this, you're building that skill of redirecting focus. And when you do it enough times in low-stake moments, that same mechanism will start to fire when the moment actually matters. But here's what I want to leave you with. To me, your focus doesn't just reflect your reality, but it actually has the power to shape your reality. Because what you focus on shapes what you are aware of, and what you are aware of shapes your perception. So the more you are able to build this skill of focus and redirecting your focus, you'll be able to have the freedom to focus on what really elevates your performance, and most importantly, brings your life meaning.